Hello everyone, CrystalFissure here, and welcome to a discussion video about Spyro the Dragon. I know how much you love them, I know how much I love talking about Spyro, and I'm here to sort of speculate about the future of the series. You know, with everything that's been going on with the fan games, with the Crash Bandicoot HD and Sane Trilogy collection of games, and just everything that's been going on lately, I feel like we really, where there's smoke, there's fire, essentially. And I'm going to apply that sort of mentality to Spyro the Dragon and why I believe Spyro will be coming back, or there will be some form of announcement of a Spyro game this year. Now this isn't a matter of this isn't a gloating thing, like this isn't me going, well, if it is, then I told you so, and then if it's not, I'm going to be like all bitter and like, oh, Activision, they don't know what they're talking about, and oh, they made a big mistake, and be bitter about it. But I do think that if they don't, it would be a mistake. But it's not. Yeah, it's not about bragging rights. Anyway, I'm going to get straight into it. Now, these first little pieces of quote-unquote evidence are more relating to, I guess they're more just stuff that could contribute to a new game rather than not being, the exact full reason. The first reason is the first 4 figures announcement that Classic Spyro, now in specifics, Classic Spyro, was legitimately just called Classic Spyro figures, will be released sometime. They want it to be around Q3 of the year, the third quarter of the year, alongside Classic Crash Bandicoot figures. Now, by the time the Crash Bandicoot figures come out, Sane Trilogy would be out. Now, whether this is a hint from Activision or not, remains to be seen. Now, I believe First 4 Figures actually contacted Activision about doing this. They actually pitched it to them. They said, we want to make these figures. And I think that you got to think about it from a marketing perspective. They have Skylanders right now, and Skylanders is basically bombing. The TV series on Netflix, I heard, is actually quite good. I'd like to review it at some point. But anyway, the point is that people have been talking about the Netflix series, but that's basically it. There's not really anything going on video game wise right now, which I'm sure, for classic Spyro fans, unfortunately, that is kind of a good sign, because it means that the current Spyro, the one a lot of people don't like, isn't really doing well. Now, whether they blame that on Spyro itself or they're actually blaming the Skylanders brand, I don't know. If they're blaming Spyro, that's goddamn just the most dumb thing I've ever heard, but hopefully that isn't the case. But anyway, why would they commission, through First 4 Figures, why would they commission a figure if they didn't at least want people thinking about Classic Spyro? Now, that's the real thing. It's like, considering that Spyro right now is a Skylanders brand, it's like a sub-brand of Skylanders, why would they then want to make money off the classic fans? Now, that brings me to the point about the Sane Trilogy, and why the Sane Trilogy success, I guess, is very much indicative of whether we'll get Spyro. But before that, just very briefly, I want to mention that there was a story that came out this week, not that big, it basically about a developer by the name of, I believe it's Bluepoint Games, have put on their website that they are working on, I think, what does it say here? It says they are passionately at work remaking a classic for current gen game systems. Now, at first I was thinking, holy fuck, holy shit, this is insane. Upon further inspection, I don't think it would be Spyro. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be Jack, but Jack is only going to be like basically upscaled. It's not going to be like a HD trilogy sort of thing. It's when it goes into PS4, so it's not going to be Jack. But I don't think it's Spyro either. One, from their wording, although this could be intentionally concealing it. Passionately work making a classic, not classics. And then current gen game systems, unless the Sane Trilogy is a timed exclusive, it looks like it is just a flat out PlayStation 4 exclusive. So you would think Spyro would be a PS4 exclusive, given the relationship with Sony and everything that's going on with that. So I'm not entirely sure whether there is enough evidence there to say, yep, Bluepoint Games are working on a Spyro game. Bluepoint Games are very much known for porting games For example, they've done stuff like the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, I believe. Oh, it looks like here it says they've done the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royal, which wasn't a fantastic game, unfortunately. And that was I mean, that was on the they ported it to the Vita. The Eco whatever, and Shadow of the Colossus collection, God of War collection, blah blah blah. So my only concern is that, you know, I won't give this too many more minutes, but if they are the ones working on it, it kind of seems like Spyro gets the shaft again. It's like, great, you know, and not to shit on Bluepoint Games, but it's just like Vicarious Visions is so passionate about Spyro that it would be kind of a shame if, like, you know, they got a studio that's basically known for ports. You know, maybe they could create a great game by themselves, you know, but you know, they have to do all the assets and blah 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 blah. But anyway, I'm gonna completely go back. Well, basically go back on topic and talk about it in relation to the Sane Trilogy. So, with the Sane Trilogy, they've made the game from the ground up. We all know this. There's hype behind it. There's actual fan interest. And we always knew this. That was the thing that people said for years. We said the same thing. We're like, guys, there is interest in remaking classic Crash games, or as much as what I would like, just a new Crash game in that style, or a blend of Twinsanity and you know, the original style. Like, I'd love to see more effort to Crash. I mean, there was that period of time, like 2009 to 2012, where like we saw like 4 or 5 cancelled projects, like Crash Landed and the DS1, and like all this stuff, like all this great content that just never saw the light of day because Activision didn't want to do anything about it. Fast forward to 2016, they announce a new game, you know, remake of the first 3, and everyone's going crazy. You know what I'm noticing? And this very much comes down to that sort of hedonistic, was it like, there's a term called like, some term about like how, you know, when you get a Ferrari, then you want the next car, then it becomes normal, then you want the next best car, then you want the next best car, and it's like a constant state. I think it's called the hedonic treadmill, I believe. And maybe that's a little bit too obscure and a little bit too like deep for, you know, essentially video games, but I think to some extent it does apply, where it's like, oh, we've got this, now what's next? But I think that's human nature in many regards. But not to discount that, yeah, a lot of the comments were like, oh my god, Spyro next, please do Spyro, please do Spyro. And just looking at, I mean, this is maybe just on my perspective, maybe not. I'm not reflective of like the whole trend of the world. Like, you know, as a wrestling fan, I love New Japan and Lucha Underground over WWE. That doesn't mean everyone does, you know. But sorry, I'm getting a bit off topic. Anyway, my point is that there is demand, at least, and you could, like, you know, be a douche and go, oh, YouTube comments, you know, aren't indicative of what people want. And like, yeah, there's plenty of stupid shit in YouTube comments, but it's not just YouTube. I think it's general consensus. I think people instantly, you know, you think of the PlayStation and you do think of franchises like Crash. You go, you know, most people probably go Crash, you know, Gran Turismo, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Spyro, not so many Gex and Croc. If you're a platformer fan, you obviously do. And what's another one? You know, there's plenty of franchises, but Spyro and Crash, you know, Final Fantasy, Spyro and Crash would have to be at least top 10. Top 10, Crash definitely top 10, Spyro, you know, maybe, depending on some people, they may not have been as into it, but it still sold very, very well. It was a very, very, you know, well-selling game. And, you know, the market is very much interested in nostalgia right now. Now, Ukulele came out, it didn't impress everyone, yet it's like, there's a topic to discuss this in the actual Let's Play, which I'm doing, but it's like, part of me sort of thinks, well, that's exactly what the Kickstarter people asked for. They asked for a game that looks, they asked for a game that was played like an N64 game, that was, you know, a throwback to the N64. So I'm sort of curious as to why so many people are going, well, it's just like the old days. But, you know, I guess that's a point for another day. But with Spyro, there's so much potential to get new fans in. Crash, I'd actually argue that while doing a HD Spyro is more difficult than a HD Crash in terms of assets and everything that you have to organize, I think there's actually more potential for Spyro to hook in new fans, because its type of collectathon gameplay is nowhere near as taxing as something like a Banjo-Kazooie and something like a Donkey Kong 64, even to some extent some Mario stuff, which can be a little bit tedious. If there's one thing you can say Spyro is not, genuinely, I would say it's that Spyro is not tedious to play. Nothing about it is really that shit. You know, some people may not really like the Spyro 3 control, like, you know, multiple playable characters. I know my very good friend Al Malloy, like, he sort of gets frustrated at the times, and everyone, you know, they're not as well played as Spyro, sure, but think about what the improvements that have been made to the Sane Trilogy, right? You know, like with the box count in all the games, and, you know, probably good loading, and you know, of course, better graphics, you know, unifying the controls, like, as in Crash 1 still doesn't have this, you know, slide spin and the slide and crouch and stuff, but apparently, according to a lot of people that have played it, they've like got the controls right. Now, Spyro, again, as I've just said, way harder to get right, but if they do get it right, I could see it doing exceptionally well in the market, not just from the nostalgia audience, but you could really market this incredibly. So yeah, I've sort of gone a bit off topic. Hopefully the people that are watching this that aren't subscribed don't get really shitted off that, oh, I'm not giving the reasons, you know, in a quick, concise 4-second video with meaningless speculation. It's more so just an opinion piece. It's more so what I think about it. But I think that, you know, there has to be, they have to be at least thinking, and when I say they, I mean Activision have to be at least thinking about the possibilities of doing Spyro. Surely they knew that in announcing Crash, you would have people going, well, what about Spyro? Because Spyro has been way less present in terms of like actual original Spyro games, you know, or even just Spyro in any really meaningful capacity than Crash, even though Skylanders was originally named after him, you know, like when they added him in. With Crash, we had those HD, what was it, like the Nitro Kart HD and Nitro Kart 2, which, mind you, at the time were two of the highest selling iPhone, like Apple iTunes app games of all time. I'm sure like Angry Birds and all that shit's probably taken over, but Crash has had a lot of stuff, you know, sort of just, maybe not a lot of stuff, but it's had something sort of chipping away there. There's been little things, whereas Spyro has essentially been given nothing since Giants, right? When Giants came out, and then now only with the series are we finally starting to see more stuff. But anyway, the damage has been done. I feel the brand has been basically wrecked. You get people completely scoffing at the Skylanders series, including me, kind of, just because it's Skylanders. And, you know, can I really blame people? Not really. So the Spyro brand, to me, has been damaged, but it has the potential to come back with a bang. Now, really, the only thing we can do to ensure a Spyro HD remake, or even new Spyro games and new Crash games, and usually, you know, I'm not going to be one of those people that just advocates go out and waste your money on a game you don't want to play. If you're not interested in the Crash HD games, don't get it. That's fine. I'm going to be getting it for sure because I'm interested. But really, the best way to see your, you know, childhood games, you know, in HD, and whether that's a great thing or not is up to you. You really do have to buy. You have to put your money where your mouth is and actually have to buy the HD trilogy, the Sane Trilogy, because that basically says, yes, there is a market that's interested. Yes, we have a market that's willing to pay. And yes, we would probably pay for more original Spyro content. And then there we go. Activision has two of the most popular franchises on the PlayStation 1. And if you look at just how mismanaged it's been since the PlayStation 1, it's truly sickening. And it's like everything that people here are saying, you know, you guys in the comments or me, there's a point to it. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, it's you can say, oh, you're just arrogant, you think your opinion matters, blah 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 blah, but at the end of the day, look at what they had. Look at the money that Crash and Spyro generated for previous companies, even when it was quote unquote failing like Wrath of Cortex, it still sold like over 4 million, I'm pretty sure. Like they still did really well. They just essentially got greedy, rushed everything. I mean, you know, we all know where this is going. I'd love to have more conversations. I could talk about the whole mismanagement of Spyro all day. Me, Ratchet 5 and Nintendo N64 actually did a video, and then my audio didn't record properly, which was just a nightmare for me, because we had such a good discussion. But we're going to do that again another time. We're talking about like Enter the Dragonfly and Spyro Heroes Tale. You guys would have absolutely loved it. But yeah, so sorry for that tease. But the point is that it's like, what I'm saying here is not some revelation. It's not some piece of rocket science. It's not, you know, John Fincher here from Survivor saying it's not rocket science. Because it isn't. Because it's like, here you have a franchise, they're both popular, they're both still popular, they both tap into the current market of nostalgia that everyone wants to relive. Everyone, you know, maybe not everyone, but so many people have that element where they do want to go back and relive. But what you could do is you can bring it back, right, as nostalgia, and then create new memories and create new experience and new games. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point I'm just going to repeat myself. This has been really fun. I really enjoyed discussing this, and I cannot wait to see what happens with the Sane Trilogy. I cannot wait to see the viewership figures for the videos, you know, for my videos, other people's videos, viewership for Let's Plays, viewership, game sales, because really, depending on how, maybe Spyro isn't as popular as Crash overall, hasn't sold as many games, but it has the potential to. It has the potential to be huge, and it has the potential to ride off the wave of the Sane Trilogy. And the Sane Trilogy has to be good as well. I think, or maybe not has to be good, but if it is good, it will make people's desire for Spyro even more strong. That said, if they were smart, they probably would have already started development on a Spyro game. And in fact, just like it was with the Sane Trilogy where they'd been working on it for a while, I'm pretty sure that, and this kind of goes back on almost everything I've said, they're probably, if they have made a HD, you know, doing a HD Spyro, they've probably already laid the groundwork. And if they have bra fucking vote, E3 or something like that, or the Tokyo Game Show or something like that, would be the perfect opportunity to reveal this new game. And yeah, I think you know what, judging by how much attention it gets on my channel and other people's channel, I think the whole world, you know, it's exaggerating, but you know, the point is the gaming world will be lit on fire in a good way, you know, a good fire, a fire that doesn't kill, essentially, a warm fire will be lit under the gaming community. And I think that it'll be a great, it's just going to be a great thing to see. So anyway, I am rambling now. It's been like 17 minutes, but guys, I really enjoy talking about Spyro. I really enjoy talking with you guys in the comments as well. If you're still listening, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And I'll be back with more Let's Plays and Crash content and Spyro content, glitches, hacks, all that shit. Got some good, exciting stuff coming. So thank you once again. I really do appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who's a dedicated listener / watcher of me. I really do appreciate it. It's been a crazy few weeks. Record views on the channel. Like, actually, genuinely incredible stats right now, and it's all because of you guys. And it's all because you're listening this long as well. You know, my watch time. Okay, I should stop just going into my bloody analytics here. But yeah, thank you guys very much for your support, as I've just said. And yeah, I'll be back soon with another video. Catch you later.
I met this girl at the why not? Yeah, they saw me
Going for a drink.
plans with 14.
Yeah.